right, we'll get started. As usual, raise your hand for questions. We'll start with John Wilkerson, then go to Ryan, and then go to Ben.
Getting ready for SEC Series number 4. Is this going to be your biggest challenge to date?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, John, your next challenge is always your biggest one because it's the cliche thing to say, but also it's true because you're moving forward in the year, and the conference is so strong talent wise with a lot of freshmen that get better with experience, and then coaching staffs, but that are well compensated, but are flat out good at what they do. So you're seeing an evolving team each time you're playing them. But then too, if you want to fall back on the easy thing to write in the papers or to announce about this weekend is we're welcoming the preseason #1 team in the country to our home field. And it's also a team that's won a recent national championship, is littered with guys who turned down big money. Their roster's littered with guys who turned down big money to go to school. And so all those things make it a very, very competitive challenge for our guys this weekend.
You mentioned after Tuesday's game that you don't feel like you guys have played your best baseball yet. Is that an encouraging sign with y'all being 7-2 at this point?
I do. You know, it's always the announcers like to say, and you like it if you're, rooting for the home team that's only down a few at halftime or even up a few at halftime and you haven't played that well. I don't know that that's a equal analogy for our sport or our team. But I think there's some individuals that have yet to settle into, again, who they truly are as a player, whether it be defensively, offensively, or on the mound. And then I think it's fair to say our team is still evolving. We've got some young components or guys who are coming off injuries or COVID that are still finding their way. And I truly feel like our team has done a great job of competing as a group. But I think individually, guys will continue to play better as the year goes on, and therefore our team will at some point find our best baseball and our best combination of all the things we have here before the year ends.
Tony, I was just curious about some guys who are banged up. If you had an update on Jackson Grier, and then just kind of a couple days removed from watching Mabry and Racker's pitch, just kind of what did you see when you went back and watched them? And I know you kind of said that they're options for this weekend, but going back and watching them, did that solidify that thought?
Yeah, starting with Grier, I think he's ready to go. Tuesday would have been pushing it just a little bit, although it was very enticing to get him out there as well. But it just opens up so many different things for us to have another guy you can trust behind the plate. He might have had our best overall blocking game to date when he caught Jackson Leaf. I mean, part of it was the demand and number he had of pitches to block, but he also has natural experience and a lot of love for the Vols, being a local guy and a transfer. So it'll be great to add him back. And I think it'll be a little while before he's full strength or, at least in the 90 percentiles, but he'll be back this weekend. Jason Rackers, I think the key to him was the next day, hey, how do you feel? And he said he felt really good. And I also think, that guy's still finding his best baseball. He's from my home state, middle of the country where you don't get a lot of warm weather. And he's had the injury. So he still needs to accumulate some reps. And I think we'll see an even better version of him each time that he goes out there now that he's got his feet underneath him health-wise. And then with Mabry, a guy kind of coming off some time where he had some tenderness. The one thing you expect to see is a guy kind of not babying it, but feeling his way through his pitches. If Mabry had any negatives the other night, it was he was amped up. He's trying to do a little too much and he missed up in the zone a few times. So while you don't like to see that when a guy needs to pitch at his best, you do like seeing that he was kind of cutting it loose almost too much, if that makes sense, in the health department.
Right, we'll go to Vince next and then Gustavo.
Tony, you've talked about guys having productive at bats, even if they're not necessarily getting hits or beyond just the average. In your numbers in tracking those quality and productive at bats, are those in line with on base percentage, or are those pretty much in sync on who's doing what in terms of those quality at bats?
Yeah, they are. And we have the updated rankings, and you usually have your best overall guys who are just performing at a high level near the top. But when you're looking to make out a lineup or judge a guy's season, if you look at the quality at bats, it'll kind of tell you, well, this guy's doing something to help us win. And for each guy, it's different. I mean, Zach Daniels would swing and miss a lot even after his improvements, but he also would put up big extra base or power numbers. And we keep another, on our guy's sheet that talks about quality at bats. There's different things on there that can help us win as a team, not just the quote unquote quality at bats. So the bottom line is when you look at your resume, you need to bring something to the table for us, A, to put you in there, and then B, for us to be successful as a team. You may not be very good at one or two different things, and you may not be a guy that can steal a base, but you better have a repertoire that's not one-dimensional that can help us win in any sort of way. And, I think this team has shown we can slash, hit, and run. We can steal a bag. We can just move a guy up. The bottom of the order can produce. The top of the order can produce. But the one constant that is in there is that on-base percentage. Quantitatively, it's been huge for us. And I don't think that's something we just single out, like you have to do this, or, hey, read Moneyball and then make sure you walk a bunch, or put Kevin Euclid's poster on your wall. We ain't talking about that at all. It's just a byproduct of guys truly having gritty at bats. And we do talk about that a lot. The byproduct is kind of, as I say, what it is. And, that's kind of why I'm a big believer. You can't say our team is going to be this, or we're going to be blue collar, and put that on the walls and it'll happen. You got to show up every day with a blue collar workman-like attitude. And then that will show itself to people, especially the people in our hallways.
Gustavo.
Coach, top 15 matchup, Tennessee, Florida, there's a big rivalry in terms of, college athletics. How your expectation for you and your players, coming up to the series facing such a big rival in such a series that everybody has the attention, I feel like, in the SEC.
Yeah, I mean, the Florida football versus Tennessee football deal when I was younger, it didn't get any better than that. As you would often say, if you were setting the table for that game that week, and it typically played like that out on the field. It's a different sport than ours. Times have changed, and there's ups and downs between their athletic department and ours. I think the bottom line is, as we sit here present moment, since we've had the job, our games have been very competitive with those guys because they're in our division. It really should be that way with each of our opponents that are within our division. There's a lot of familiarity. We're somewhat in close proximity. We're at least in the same region. And so those things play into it. But even more present moment this weekend in particular, I think we have a lot of respect for their coaching staff. I think we get along with their coaching staff. There's some relationships built in there. I used to work with their assistant, and there's just a lot of mutual respect there. So I think when it's between the lines, it can be it could even get downright chippy because it's SEC play at times. But I think there's an awful lot of respect from our end for them. And we sense that from their staff a little bit. And it just helps make for a professional environment where two teams with a lot of talent are going to go at it. And I think their guys will probably always look down on our guys a little bit, not in a disrespectful manner, but in a manner of, hey, we've done this recently and you guys haven't. And our guys should always kind of not look up to the opponent ever, but decide kind of what their persona needs to be in this matchup, because we're trying to get to a place where we're in a national championship conversation every year. And while we envy those that are in that spot, we don't want to be those guys. We just want to be the best version of the Vols that we can be.
All right, we'll go to Mike and then Jordan and then Wes.
Yeah, Tony, kind of just off what you just said, what is this team's persona going into this matchup? And is this a team that you think, given the two big weekends coming up, is this a team that's good at locking in on the one game task at hand going into this series?
Yeah, the honest answer is not so much from the coaching staff, but just the attitude of the players. I sense let's do it again. you know, here we are, obviously we've got a couple kids from Florida. Our guys always know different guys on the team and different records. So you can't say each opponent's going to be treated the same, but it does in our conference. And again, based off, I think the team image we currently have, or the people we have in our locker room, it does have a little bit of flavor of, okay, now it's blue and orange. Last week it was red, next game it'll be whatever. But the uniforms all kind of change, but it's the same deal. Here we go again. It's going to be a knockdown drag out fight. I mean, we've even seen that on Tuesdays or pre-conference weekends. So just keep changing the uniforms up. That's fine. But we're seeking out competition, and maybe a little bit of that has been induced by our coaches constantly saying, just give us 56 opportunities to play. We missed out on it last year. We want it this year, and if we get it, we want to enjoy it, but also kind of relish in it to the fact to the point where we put our best effort on the field.
Hey, Tony, when you look at Florida, they've obviously dipped from the preseason expectation, but when you take a closer look at their offensive numbers, it's pretty on par with what they've done in years past. What do you just see about the way that they approach their at-bats that are kind of leading to that offensive success?
Yeah, sometimes your best offense is your defense in other sports, and it makes sense because of a turnover in football or whatever. But longtime baseball fans realize how it's going on the other side of the ball can affect the other. And their pitching has been so dang good that their offense is typically very confident. You can just see it. They've always got a lot of talent in there. There are a lot of kids that have known each other for a long time because they come from the same area. So you can sense some cohesion there. And then they always kind of have a 1 through 9 type of deal. Like if you don't have the scouting report in your hand during game 1, they all might kind of bleed together a little bit, meaning that 1 through 9, they're always strong. So those are just the off the top stereotypes their offense consistently has year in and year out. And I think sometimes those arms are so good down there that they just need to find a way to scratch out a few runs and they feel like they're in a good spot. Now, we've started our scouting process for who they are now, and I don't really know how each of the games have gone. But I think, and I know your question was about offense, I think it's all kind of tied into them, probably just like us, trying to find their best baseball, because the preseason #1 ranking isn't just handed out to anybody. It's there for a reason, and they're looking for their best combination of ball, as are we.
Hey, Tony, I'm guessing that Chad Dallas is a guy, we all know how competitive he is. I mean, it's easy to see out there on the mound. When he doesn't perform as well as he wants to, and he only gets that one opportunity a week, does he just kind of sit around and stew for a bit? Does he kind of amp himself back up, or does he kind of get it dialed back down and get ready?
Yeah, I don't think Chad has stew in his vocabulary, unless it's beef stew. Just to give you an insight on how he is around here, it's very consistent. Now, the guy he is in whatever these tie-dyed pair of shorts he's always wearing are and flip-flops is not the same guy he is when he has that hat, that brim down on his hat, and he's got his uniform on. But it is very consistent day in and day out what you get out of the guy. And also, let's say he gives up a homer or he struck out the last hitter he faced. When I go out there and talk to him on the mound and maybe he comes out, it's about the same. Now, I will say this, it was a very uncomfortable exchange. There was no disrespect or anything, but he was not happy last weekend. And I also felt very uncomfortable. Didn't want to take him out. He's our guy. We need to ride him. But, it just kind of popped up last weekend where he wasn't throwing the ball as best as he could. And we wanted to go with the guy we thought was the best guy to get the current hitter out against Alabama. And it worked out in our favor then, but who knows? You leave Chad in 30 more pitches and he throws over 100 pitches again for us. Maybe he flips the script because he's got the ability to, and the whole game might have gone different. You just don't know. So I think there was that kind of exchange or that deal last weekend. But the kid is super consistent in what his personality is and how he is as a teammate and a competitor. And whenever it's gone, it'll be sorely missed because it's pretty dang good in all areas.
All right, guys, we have time for 2 more questions. So we'll go to Ryan and then we'll finish with John. Actually, we'll go to Ryan and John, and then we'll do Trey. We'll do 3 more.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about Nathan Hickey. Just how would you describe what he's been able to do as a freshman, especially with there really seeming to be no drop off since he's gotten into SEC play?
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying this as a compliment, not much of a surprise. Just a name that had been out there, kind of a nice combination of a guy that's a ball player, maybe a guy that you would throw in the overachiever category, but then you would also throw him in the big blue chip category of everybody in the country would kill to get a commitment from a kid like that when you're talking about a high school baseball player. And now he's, in a program where they're known for getting their guys prepared, and they ship off a ton of guys, not only into pro ball, but into pro ball that have success. So it all kind of matches up. And he's certainly a name where if you look at their statistics, he's at the top of a lot of categories, including overall hitting, if I'm not mistaken. So he's somebody, again, we've started our scouting process, but it won't end until the first pitch is thrown. And then you try and update things as the weekend is going on. And he's going to have to be a guy that you kind of know where he's at all times and keep a thumb on what your best game plan is against him.
How has the week gone for Liam, and will he be back at short this weekend?
The week has gone, it's been eventful. The kids had more academics this week. Sometimes anyone who's been in college knows it kind of comes in cycles, and it's like, man, I'm on easy street. And then next thing you know, you're swamped. And he's set aside a lot of extra time for academics this week. So it's kind of worked out well with the rehab schedule, if that's the right word to call what he's been doing in the training room. He also got vaccinated this week. And anyone who's done that knows there's, at least a little something the thing gives you. So he's had a full week of meeting with doctors and professors and all kinds of stuff. And yet the kid's always got a smile on his face. He always says, yes, sir. And he's going to want to play. I don't know that that's our best move for the long haul. And if we're really kind of trying to take care of Liam. So I don't know that that's what we'll do. The easy out for me and talking to you guys is he will be involved this weekend. It's just a matter of how much.
Hey, Tony, how big is environment this weekend at Lindsey Nelson Stadium over the course of 3 games? I know you don't pay attention to this, but tickets are going over $160 a piece just to get in to watch the games on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. What do you think the environment should be SEC play wise, and how much are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, I mean, my parents are coming this weekend, but if someone's willing to go to 260, I could tell them to watch on TV. It's interesting to see those prices, and I feel for anyone that maybe can't afford to come or just gets shut out. I know Danny White's being incredibly aggressive about trying to, increase the numbers allowed here. But I can say this, the numbers that were here on Friday against LSU, they helped us win the game. They just did. And even if, they didn't, it added to our guys' experience, which is important. I mean, it's not the whole deal, but we ask a lot of our guys. They put in a ton of hours, maybe more hours than any other sport, just because of the nature of our game. And so when there's something that adds to their experience, you kind of feel happy for them. And then also as a coach, you're always looking for an edge. That's why we look at numbers and scouting reports. And it was a true edge on that Friday. I also feel on Saturday and Sunday against LSU, we had a little bit of an edge with our home crowd. It was just the weather interfered. So while the seating capacity has been increased a little bit, I don't know what number, I'm more excited about the weather cooperating, because if we can replicate in any way, shape, or form some of the nights we've had, like against ETSU or LSU, it'll add to our guys' play. It'll add to their experience, and it'll make it tougher for someone to finish us at home. It just will, even though, we're playing arguably the most talented roster in the country.
All right, that'll do it for today. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Take care.